And that shit hit that level perfectly. That hit that level perfectly on the ES. Uh, mm, possibly. Hmm. Mhm. All right, all right, all right. Yeah, it looks like we got that stop run right at that level where I thought we would. Yeah. But never let nobody tell you that you can't predict what the market's going to do. I was looking at 45 for there to be like a stop run and just potentially see a move going higher. We'll see. I mean, we did have a big move towards the end of the day. We did trade right back into an area of resistance here. We did trade back into an area of resistance. So, hmm. We could see a drop. We could see price come back down into this range right here. It's highly likely that's what we see too. Uh, so 50% of top step traders are short right now. Hmm. Bitcoin is going up. Bitcoin is trending. Silver is going down. Hmm. Gold. Hmm. Hmm. CL. Hmm. Where's my M's going to be an uptrend? Not gonna lie, this one on gold. Hmm. Looks like they're finding support here. But this, I mean, it does look like a short. It looks like a bottom drop. About the range. I would sit on my hands on that one. I'm looking at like 930, 935-ish. I'm looking for the market to come back into this range. Kids. I'm looking for the market to come back into this range right here for a potential retest of potentially this range and this high. We had a lot of dark pool come in for SPY yesterday. We had a lot of dark pool come in. Damn. Maybe I should have bought puts. I bought calls, but it's looking like the market thinks that SPY is going to get the 568. Were we at 560? No, we weren't. We were not at 560 yesterday. Or were we? Were we at 560 yesterday? No. We didn't get close. Yeah, today was the 13th. I mean, the lowest that it got was 575. And there was so much dark pool here at 580. I just had a feeling that the market was going to do this. I shared this in the Think with Bookmap chat. When I saw it happen, you can see that they were buying a lot of 580 shares at around 580 on SPY yesterday, around the end of the day before we got this massive short squeeze, because they were just buying it as soon as it was dipping down. And you can really see it. That, I mean, even though we like to think the market is a game, you can see like how many times they dipped into this level to fill all these orders. Look at all these orders that got filled. Massive amount of orders sitting at 580 for SPY. Massive amounts of orders. And we didn't see a breakout until the end of the day, until all these orders got filled right here in this consolidation. So it's going to be very interesting to see where the market goes to tomorrow. We do have PPI tomorrow. I do think that we could potentially see 595 tomorrow. We could potentially see 600. Depending on how the market likes what it sees on PPI. Or let me rephrase that, depending on how the market reacts to PPI tomorrow. Because no one cares about what you think or what we think or what anybody thinks about the actual data itself. The only thing that matters is how the market reacts to the data that we're going to get tomorrow. And so far, we're getting a bullish reaction ahead of the news. So usually when I see stuff like that happen, when we get a bullish move ahead of news, that usually tells me that as soon as we get the news, one or two things are going to happen, obviously. Either we're going to see a big dump and we're going to break some lows, or we're going to see that continuation and we're going to break some highs. So one thing is for certain tomorrow is that we're going to break some highs, or we're going to break some structure tomorrow for sure. But it's obvious the way that the market is set up, the way that Nvidia is set up right now, is that we're going to see a move to the upside. We talked about Nvidia. We talked about this 130 level all last week. I was able to get out of my puts that I bought for $86, and I was able to close these at $2.30. So I'm very happy with that. As soon as the market opened, I closed my position because I just knew that the market was waiting for 130 on Nvidia. We could see a move up here to 135, 137, but I'm thinking that we're probably going to see at least a move back up to 140. And from here, I feel that this level is going to make or break the market. Either we're going to get a move back down, we're going to break 30 and possibly get to 125, 120, or we're going to break this level and probably ping pong back and forth between 145 and 150. Now, this is just speculation, obviously, and it's not financial advice. But based on previous price action, I think that's what's likely to happen. I think that's what's likely to happen tomorrow or this week. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye out on NVIDIA. I meant to buy calls, but the calls were too expensive, obviously. So I bought SPY calls instead. I bought 595 calls, but SPY calls for the end of the week. We should see 595 at the end of the week. We should. If we don't, then I'll just take the loss. I mean, I only bought them for like $10. They were cheap. I think we've seen at least 595 on SPY at least, or somewhere close. I was able to get it right at 580 before this big push. Was able to buy them. I mean, at the same time, they were far out of the money anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's not like I was buying them at the money. I'm buying them far out of the money at 595 up here, so it doesn't matter where I bought them. In order for me to get a decent, in order to get decent premium for my calls, it needs to at least make a $10 move on SPY, which is not necessarily unheard of. It's not. But I'm betting that we at least get back around 590, 595. We'll see what happens. We'll see. Yeah, I probably have to, yeah, like 590 or something like that. Probably like 590. Because that would be a big move. That would be a really big move in one day. Man, has the market made a $10 move in a day before? Pretty sure. I mean, this made a $13 move right here. This made a $13 move. So, I mean, yeah, we at least get to 590 tomorrow. I probably might close around this level depending on how the market reacts. And we had the market gap up like right here to 590. Get to 590. Yeah, we probably might see 590 tomorrow. Yeah, we probably might see like 590 tomorrow. But we did see some prints here at 568. And I think that it's very interesting that people are buying 568 on SPY. This is the same area for that second level on NVIDIA at 125. I don't think that's a coincidence. It'll be somewhat similar to this area right here on SPY. So I'm definitely going to keep my eyes out for 125. If we see a move down to 125, 120, this is not financial advice, but I'm definitely going to probably buy some long-term 140 calls or something like that. 140, depending on how much they cost, because my strategy with SPY is to 10x $10, a $10 contract. I don't care to trade options at all. And when I do trade options, I don't like to spend a lot of money on them. So don't like to spend a lot of money on them. Just want to just, all right. Yeah. And it always seems to work out that way. Yeah. So if y'all was with me this morning, we talked about how I'm just gonna I'm changing my trading style this year. No more chasing the market and no more gambling. And I felt that the market gods heard that and tried to test my resolve this morning. I had a position that literally stopped me out and go in the direction that I traded in and hit all my targets and then went further, which usually that would probably set me on tilt. That usually doesn't happen for the trades that I take, but for whatever reason, this situation, the ES felt the need to come back, sweep more liquidity, and then make that move higher. And unfortunately, my stop got caught up in all that. So, but I did not trade on tilt. I did not go off stream and trade on tilt and take revenge trades or any of that. I just accepted it. And I was willing to accept it. I was literally said, you know what? Um, Unfortunately, I lost that trade. I just had to look for the next setup. And the most amazing thing happened. I found another setup. I got my money back. I think we got that short at the end of the stream. That brought my account back half of what I lost. And off stream, I found another long. I went to the gym, came back, let the market set itself right back up, found another short, and brought my account to break even. And at the end of the day, I was initially short in this. I'm kind of glad that I think this was the final test for me. This was like literally the final test that I think the market is like, all right, I guess he means it this time. He's not lying. He's not saying that he's going to change and then don't. He actually means it this time because I got caught up in this chop. My target was I thought that the market was going to break this, and I had a couple of targets targeting I think like 50, 40, stuff like that to retest some of these lows. But as I shared with you guys, I saw that they were hitting the 580s on the flow for SPY. And it's the same thing SPY was doing, the ES was doing. It just kept bouncing, 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 bouncing in this one area. And I was up about $1,100 at the peak of this. And it just kept bouncing. And I had to tell myself, or I told myself that, dude, if this thing bounces one more time, you need to close this position. I told myself that I think that you've been given a lot of opportunities to either take profits or to close out entirely. And I told myself, yeah, you're absolutely right. So if it bounces one more time at this little level that I had my eye on, that I was going to take half my profits and walk away. And I literally took my stop and I moved it right here. So instead of making $1,100, I think I made what, 6 or something like that. And right after it bounced, this mega short squeeze happened. And I turned around, saw that the market was squeezing. I waited for a pullback, got long, and was able to ride this until the end of the day. And so I think I was down 3,600 in that account. And now I'm up like 1,700 in that account. So that was definitely a comeback for that account. Definitely a comeback. And I was able to come back because I didn't revenge trade. That was the only reason why. I didn't revenge trade. I didn't over. Well, I don't. I can't even over leverage in this account. I can only trade 5 mini contracts. So I damn near almost go full port all my positions. 4 mini contracts is very comfortable for me. I'm comfortable trading 4 minis. And I was able to bring back that account just taking good setups, not trading on tilt, not over leveraging, trying to get my money back, just accepting the loss and waiting for the next setup. All right, let's see if we get this first target hit though. And I'm gonna follow my rule this year. I might trade the Nasdaq in one of these blue sky accounts, but I'm gonna take all my Nasdaq trades in the sim like I told myself, because I just keep getting caught up. No number is big enough on the Nasdaq for whatever reason for me. It's just not big enough. Again, like I said, I was up what, 6K, 6,200 on Friday, and I lost 11K because 6K was not enough. It was not enough. So to protect myself from myself, I told myself that I can still trade the Nasdaq, but it has to be in the sim. We did take a micro Nasdaq trade this morning, and we was able to get like 80 to 90 points on that trade. I left 2 to run, but those got stopped out. Mm. Yeah, Rose, it definitely does, man. It definitely does. We can actually look at that. I don't even know why the ES even did that. I think I went long because because it stopped me out. When was it? Like 8:30 in the morning or something like that? Yeah, it stopped me out literally right here. Like literally right here, just stopped me out. And then does this crap right here. Because I think I got in long at the break of this, or where was that long at actually? How was that long? Okay, yeah, because I think I went long right here at the break of this, I think. And I was looking for a retest of this high. But nah, it stopped me out. But then sometimes I got to remember that the ES is not the NASDAQ. The ES 9 times out of 10 will come back and sweep liquidity before it runs. That's it right there. But that's probably already gone. They probably already did that already. All right. And I think, I don't know, the NASDAQ is just so notorious for this right here. It's always that first target for whatever reason, it never runs through it, or for whatever reason, it just has a hard time at that first target. Mm. Yeah, I can probably like kind of spread the love out on these, because if uh, probably like right here, and that could be like at the top, probably like in the middle of this range right here. Uh, 2145. Nah, that doesn't even make sense. They wouldn't buy all these orders. I mean, they wouldn't buy. All right, so this is what I was just thinking about. I was thinking like, well, maybe. Nah, well, okay. So this is what I was thinking about. Maybe price came all the way back up here to reload on shorts. And I'm not saying that we don't possibly get a move down, but I don't think we're gonna get a reversal. I was thinking that because I was thinking about, all these dark pool orders and these prints for price to go to at least 565. 565 is not even a big area. It's not even a big level on SPY. I mean, the biggest level was, we touched that this morning. We bounced off it this morning. Honestly, I wish I bought calls at 575, because shit, if you bought calls literally at the bottom of this move, I mean, I wasn't like, I should have been thinking about this, because this is exactly where Nvidia was. This thing literally moved up about $8 to the upside. Should have thought about this and bought calls sooner. Okay. Well, ain't no point crying over spilled milk. But yeah, a lot of people are buying 568 calls, or they're buying they're buying shares at 568, which, I mean, I don't know why. 568. I mean, we already looked at SPY, but I mean, I don't know why they're buying it. I mean, unless we get a move overnight, because obviously options or stocks open up at 8:30. So if we see a pump and a dump before the market opens, I mean, that's the only way for that to even make sense. That's the only thing that makes sense. We'll look at the gamma levels tomorrow. We'll see where they're at tomorrow, so we know which side to trade on. The one thing that I will say is that these gamma levels, they're very helpful. So I know which, it filters whatever direction I need to trade in. If we're in negative gamma, I know to short every pop. If we're in positive gamma, I know to focus on longs. If we're in neutral, I know that we're going to trade in a range. So it really takes a guesswork about which side of the market that you should trade. If one side is trying to fake the other side out and trying to trap the other side, these gamma levels really are very helpful. Yeah, that shit did that thing perfectly too. All right, so like what 144? Yeah, that's probably like 144, probably like 144, 140, 138. We'll probably get a retest of that high. So I got one for that high right there. We'll probably get a retest of that. Yeah, my targets are good where they are. They're good. We'll get this retest of this high right here, and we got a runner. Shit. Honestly, okay, so last week, Friday, I was thinking that we could possibly see 230, but the market fell short of that. The market fell short of 230. It fell short of 200, which surprised the hell out of me. I mean, we usually don't see the market reject at 70s. For the most part, we usually see, let me rephrase that. We usually see reversals at 90s, not 70s, 80s. We usually don't see that. But we got a straight up reversal at 75. It surprised the hell out of me. And this is like in this drop, that's where I lost that 11K at because I didn't expect for this to be a real drop. I thought that this was going to find support. We was going to at least see 200 or 190, and then we get that drop. But obviously the market had different plans. So 230 was an area that I was looking at last week that we could potentially see tomorrow or this week sometime. I'm going to keep an eye out for that. Actually, probably like just do that. Like 135, and then test that high. Spread the level on these contracts a little bit. No, I don't have auto break even on mine. It's well, the only thing that I would have, and I usually just do this for the ES, is a trailing stop once it gets close, because this thing literally missed me by a tick or a couple of ticks, and it pulled back instead of just filling that first target. So I have two strategies, and I'll go through it. So for the Nasdaq, I trade 4 mini contracts. I'm trading on a account with a big drawdown. So this account, well, this is the sim, but usually when I'm trading my evals during the morning stream, I have a 5K static drawdown, and my Apex account obviously have the 7,500 of trailing stop or trailing drawdown. And in those accounts, I trade 4 minis. My 50K accounts, I trade 10 micro contracts. I could just trade 1 mini, but yeah, I could trade just 1 mini, but anyway. And I'll share that strategy too. But this has an 18-point stop on it. So my first target is obviously going to be 1-to-1. And my second target is 27, 36, 45. And these, well, once I get into the trade, obviously my targets will populate, obviously. Depending on what kind of environment we're in, and depending on where I think the market could potentially go, I usually spread out my targets. This 200 target is a runner, is a super runner. I just explained that last week I thought that we was going to get to 230, but we rejected it, or we reversed that around like 170. I think the market is going to at least retest that level, and we'll possibly see a fake breakout, and then probably a reversal at 230. We might even see the market reverse completely at 230. because there was literally no reason why they couldn't touch 230 last week. But I mean, they didn't. And so this strategy doesn't have any stop strategies, meaning that it doesn't have a trailing stop. Now, my ES strategy is very similar, but this one has a 6.75. So it's damn near almost an 8-point stop, or a 7-point stop, but it's 6 points and 3 ticks. And obviously my first target is a 1-to-1, and my target is 9. The next one is, I think that's like 13 points, and this one is like 15, I think. Let me do the math. Yeah, so this is almost 15, almost 16 points right here. So 16, about 13, 9, and 7. Um, I usually kind of leave the ES trades alone. With the ES strategy, for the most part, it's highly likely that I'll get 2 of my targets hit. But since the ES has been making 30-point legs, I do have confidence that my third and fourth target can potentially get hit. But I do have trailing stops on all of my for my targets, because obviously the ES trades a lot differently than the Nasdaq. If your targets miss on the ES, I mean, I had that done to me this morning, where it literally, my stop was supposed to move up, it did not move up, and we got this big reversal down, and a winning trade turned into a loss. Or let me rephrase that. I I lost more than I should have, because I should have got that. My stop should have moved up, but it didn't. And the ES completely reversed. And that's why I try not to move my targets with the ES, because of that. But the ES been making, I think this move down was like a 50 point. I think, like, yeah, this move down was like a 59-point move down. And this move right back up was like a 70-point move. The ES is moving like the Nasdaq now. That's why I've been kind of focusing more on the ES, because she's been moving. The ES moves now. And yet, but she stays true to her fundamentals. You can trade her technically, but she's been making big moves. Big moves. Excuse me. So I've been I really don't see a reason in trading the Nasdaq when the ES is doing the exact same thing, and I can make way more money on the ES. I've made I've made way more money than on the ES than I've made on the Nasdaq, because I can confidently put on 8 minis, 10 minis, 15 minis on the ES without the bull crap of the Nasdaq, and I can get my targets hit. I made about 20, like I passed a 20K account, a 300K account with Apex, I think in less than 5 days, just trading strictly the ES. Now, obviously the Nasdaq has more profit potential. I mean, this thing makes like 200-point legs, but you're not confident putting heavy size on the Nasdaq. I mean, your heart rate will go up, and I won't listen to anybody that says that they can comfortably put size on the Nasdaq unless they're trading an account with a lot of money in it. But with these prop accounts, there's no way that you're full porting minis on Nasdaq and say that you're not comfortable. I won't believe it. uh, yeah, I probably could have just Yeah. And on my smaller accounts, I do have a strategy for. Oh yeah, let me actually show that. So my smaller accounts for the Nasdaq, I do have a strategy. It's a 3 contract strategy where um it relies heavily on statistics, playing the numbers game with the Nasdaq. So it's 3 micro contracts with a 54-point stop. If I just have this position on 54 points, I think that's going to be around a $350 loss. If I scale into 3 more contracts and take it all off at 54, that's a $450 loss. Now, the point of these is to have small size, but I'm shooting for bigger targets. So I'm taking my first target at 70 points. My second target is at like 80 or something like that, and then my big target is like 150 points on the Nasdaq. And altogether, that's like a $700 or $800 trade if it touches all my targets on only 3 micro contracts. I can double that if I can somehow get a third or 3 more contracts to fill. Usually I'll have price fill these targets, and if it hits my stop, the good thing about that strategy is that uh, I'm getting in at an area of support. If my stop gets hit, I can literally do the same strategy again, and that second trade will usually work, bring me back to break even, and I'm positive. I've showcased that so many times on stream where if I lose that first trade, I'll make all my money back plus some on that second trade because I'm just playing the numbers game. I mean, if it breaks through support, well, that means that it's going to stop at this level of support. And I'm usually going to get a big move, a 200-point move, and I can easily get all my money back. The only thing I don't like about this strategy is the fact that I have to do that. When you're in a funded account, you just want to get paid out. And having to come in every day and find big moves on the NASDAQ, it can be exhausting. It's just added stress on the funded side, at least for me. That's why I don't particularly care to use it. But it is a winning strategy. I mean, it's kind of hard to blow an account when you trade like that on the NASDAQ, on the micro NASDAQ. It's kind of hard. Kind of hard to blow the account. And this is the strategy right here. You can see that obviously the profit targets are really big. It's a really big profit target. So all these got to get hit to get like $700 or $800. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work mentally, but it's a winning strategy. So. So these targets on the NASDAQ, I'm not sure if they'll hit, honestly. I'm actually thinking that we're going to actually see a pullback on the NASDAQ to at least 930. That's actually what I'm looking for. If you're long here, I really wouldn't move. I really wouldn't target anywhere above that high right there. That's just me personally. I'm in the sim. I'm on stream. So this is a sim trade. I don't really care if this thing hits or not. If I see a setup, I'm gonna take it. But I think this is where the market is really trying to get back to, and this is where we'll probably see a reaction. And the only reason why I say that is because Price tapped into this area of previous resistance, and the same thing on the ES to answer your question. Um, on both the ES and the Nasdaq, it tapped into a previous area of resistance, and we saw a small little rejection. We tapped into this area right here on the Nasdaq, and we saw price reject right there, and the same thing on the ES as well. Right here. We saw price reject right here. Now, you're saying that do I think that this is a good pullback on the ES? If you're trading the ES, I wouldn't buy it this high, obviously. And I guess it depends on how much size you're trading and how much money you're trying to make. Obviously, the best entry on the ES was to buy this retest of this breaker structure, obviously to the upside, and then fill in that gap. But like I said, the ES touched a previous area of heavy resistance. $880. All right. So on the higher time frame, not only did it hit a previous area of supply, but it also hit that 200 EMA. It hit that 200 EMA, and we saw that rejection. The 200 EMA and the ES, don't ever bet against the 200 EMA on the 200 or on the ES. I've lost a lot of money trying to fight against that 200 EMA. And now I make a lot of money playing with it. The 200 EMA and the ES, it never fails to reject or bounce when the first time it touches it, especially on higher time frames. The first touch is usually a rejection. Always. I haven't seen this thing not do it once. And I learned the hard way that it does not play around when it touches that 200 EMA. It does not play around. You see, it rejects, rejects, rejects. And when it finally breaks above it, you see how it's now used it as support. It used it as support here and bounced. We got a break, we got a pullback and a break. And then they literally came back to that 200 EMA and they've rejected price. Don't ever bet against that 200 EMA. You consistently see that it rejects from there, or you'll consistently see that it bounces from it. You'll consistently see that with the 200 EMA. So I would honestly sit on my hands. If you're in an eval, if you're in a funded account right now, I would wait until the reaction to the news tomorrow. That's just my opinion. The market has already made its move, unfortunately. Buying up this high, I mean, you're literally gambling with the potential that you're buying into an area of supply. I mean, you can literally see that you are, if you're not scalping. The Nasdaq is different. I mean, she does respect the 200 EMA, but yeah, I guess for the most part, yeah, she respects it too. Yeah, she respects it. I think that's what I get in trouble with the Nasdaq, because I think that I guess I guess I think she's Superwoman or something. She defies chart gravity all the time. You think she can do anything, but mm. The one thing that I do notice on the Nasdaq is that if we do see a pullback, like I said, I think 930, 935, but the 200 EMA is sitting there at 940, 950. You got the 200 EMA at 962, and you got the 50 at 892. So that's something that I do like to see on the Nasdaq, is that the EMAs are suggesting that we could potentially see a move up higher because they're now sloping up, they're now changing. We're seeing a transition in the EMAs now. We're looking at VWAP sloping up now, the 50 sloping up, the 21, the 200. You can see that happening on the Nasdaq. I mean, you can also see it on the ES as well. It's just that the 200 EMA is still above price. Five, 868. All right, so let me just look at this. Let me look at this real quick. Man, I doubt it though, but I'll try it. Doubt it, but I try it. Hmm. $860, huh? Now we got that breaker structure right here. 875. Hmm. Man, that does look bullish. It does. Well, the one thing that I will say is that if you're in this long, the market hasn't made a move down yet. They're holding. My recommendation is, if you're going to try to do this long, just keep a tight stop. Just keep a tight stop. You get in long on the ES. If you were to get in long on this, shit, let's just do it. If you were to get in long on the ES right now, I would feel that where I have my stop, I would probably get stopped out of this. I mean, the Bulls did buy the retest, but the ES did, or it did. It does love to come back and sweep liquidity for whatever reason. So if I was in this and I wasn't sure, I would have my stop underneath this candle. A 3-point stop on this thing. Actually, I'll probably have it like right there, because I don't want it to come back, because potentially it can come back here. So where is the Oh, 886. 886. Yeah, I wouldn't put too much risk on a long up here. This could work. We could see a move up to at least R2. We could see a move up to the high of day, but I wouldn't put a lot of risk. I mean, you're literally kind of longing the ups or the top of this move on low liquidity. Where's the liquidity at? Obviously, there's not that much volume being traded. Right now, virtual, the micro and the E-mini are both trading around 39,000 contracts tonight. That's actually pretty low for the Nasdaq for the micros. At least the micros are usually at 100K usually. That's pretty light tonight. It's pretty light. Yeah. So, how is trading around this time? It really depends. It really depends on what happened in the previous session. We all know that the Asian session is usually setting up for London. If you want to make money overnight, from what I've seen, is Asia is meant to set up London. I mean, you can get into a profitable position, obviously, but Asia is meant to set up London. The same way London sets up New York, lunchtime sets up um, that 1:30 to or that 1:30 to 2 o'clock central time frame, and vice versa. It seems like the slower sessions, when the market slows down, the volume dries up. Uh, it's not recommended to trade during those times because that's the market setting itself up. It's sweeping liquidity, sweeping highs, sweeping lows, and it's setting itself up for the next session. I mean, they're not even giving. I mean, I guess I could see it. I guess I could. I mean, it touched that thing almost to the T and rejected. And I kind of hate not seeing where I'm at on the chart. I mean, technically, I mean, that's it right there. We can see what it did. Technically, that's it right here. You know, it's kind of small. Yeah, I just kind of, I don't like it. It's not clear. Mhm. Yeah, I wouldn't even put myself through that type of stress. I wouldn't put that. Mm. Hmm. Man, yeah, it looks like it wants to continue to go up higher. I just wish the price action was a little bit more clean. I mean, because we got that, and we got that push to 901. Mm. So 870. 870. I mean, 870 would be all the way down here. 870. 879. 879. 879, 874. All right, so yeah, it's highly like. Well, you know what? Let me get out of this. I don't like being in a trade like that. I don't like that type of trades. I don't like it, especially not on the ES. If we do see a move down, I'm going to be looking for. I want to see how the market reacts here at S1 at 874, and at the same time 878, 879. This block of liquidity right here. This is where I want to see how the market reacts if we do see price come back into this range right here. Actually draw it out for tomorrow. I want to see how the market reacts when price gets into this area of liquidity. Because if you look back in the past, you can see that 878 was a value area high. You got to break a structure here. And right here at the top of this, right here, right there, is where we got that break of structure at. Let me see what that is. All right, so that low right there is 873.50. 873.50. Push this into the future. All right, so this is where that break of structure happened on the ES. Okay. And once we got that break of structure towards the end of the day, it's no coincidence that this is where the bulls found support. They broke above it. They found support right here at that level. And then we saw that breakout higher. So this is the area that if you want to look for a long on the ES, this is the area that I will be looking for. It's highly likely to see a reaction somewhere in that area right there. Based on this block of liquidity right here, and based on what's happened in the past in that same area. So that's where I'll be looking for tomorrow. Or I mean, if it happens overnight, then I'll miss it. But I wouldn't set a limit here. It's not a good area to set a limit. but it's highly likely that we'll probably see a bounce there. Okay. Mm. Actually, let's look at the DOM. Yeah, you already got people building their orders right there at 875. So you can see people already building orders right there. 875, 880. Yeah, we called that high on tonight's NA meeting on the ES at least. You know, honestly, I thought about talking about this range on the NA meeting tonight, but I tried to not put too much information in those videos because they can get very long and I'll have to explain a lot. And I just want to keep those videos in their 5-6 minutes. But I had a feeling that I was going to want to come back into this range, and this is probably where we would have saw the rejection on the Nasdaq. Yeah, I now, I mean, ever since I started editing these videos myself, and like I said, they're only like 6 minutes, but man, they are time consuming. Takes about like an hour or 2 hours just to edit them and get them done. So I can only imagine a 4-hour movie, how long that takes, really. I mean, obviously there's a team of people that's working on the film, but man, 4 hours of editing. Or I'm pretty sure it's more footage than that. And then after you're done editing, you have 4 hours of it. So, I'll probably just start making. Yeah, but it does look like they're using 2146. Looks like that's the high, the value area high right now. This is the value area high. And it's looking like they're rejecting off of it. Or at least the bears are trying to sell it. I was telling my trading partner earlier today that I'm convinced that bears, they just don't want to. I feel like bears have performance anxiety or something because they have energy to get in the way of bulls. When the market is bullish, that's when the bears want to come in and they want to super short. They're piling in, they're very aggressive selling it. I mean, even though the market still continues to trade higher, I mean, you have the bears just trying to come in and they sell it down. Like moves like this. You get this big bullish move, and then these bears come out of nowhere with all this bearish strength. Where the hell was y'all guys at when the price was all the way down here? Where the hell were you at? Anybody that traded this this afternoon, you know how torturous this was. Torturous this block of price action was trying to get us short. And the bears just kept failing and failing and failing. I mean, obviously they kept failing because they were trading into support, but at the time it just seemed like, okay, this was just another bullish pop into a previous area of resistance, and we should see that move down. But we ain't get that. And the people that were long I mean, if you didn't get stopped out of this at any point in time in this before this big pop happened. But yeah, it's obvious that the Bears, they have energy. They don't, if they can't get their way, they don't want you to have your way. And it makes me not even want to associate myself as a bear because I love shorting. And it's very frustrating when the Bears it takes 2 hours to get. I mean, in a bearish environment, the Bears is having a hard time shorting the market. I'm definitely convinced of that. The Bears can't hold any rotation down. They can't hold, they can't reject. The Bulls are just, even in a bearish environment, the Bulls are still projecting their will onto Bears. They're still projecting their will on this market. Even though the Bears have been able to still keep stair stepping this thing down, we are in a overall bearish market. I mean, we are bearish. It's just that it doesn't feel that way because the Bulls just keep buying the dip, buying the dip, buying the dip aggressively. And the Bears, I guess, don't know how to handle that. I think, let me see if we got like a trend breakout here. Yeah, all right. So not only did we have, so we had price breaking out of this downward trend on the ES. So we had them break out. Nine oh nine, 909, 909. I mean, this thing is, well, it doesn't have to do anything. All right. Yeah, I want to see what the market does around 916, 917 on the ES. This is the area that I'm going to be looking for tomorrow. If we see a slight rejection here, then we probably get a move back down to probably like 874. If we don't see that tonight, if we don't see that, yeah, we don't see that tonight. But if we see, if PPI blasts us through this, if we see a break above 917 tomorrow on the ES and they find support here, I'm definitely going to go long. I will start a long position right here. Have resistance, have prior support, turn to resistance, turn back into support for a move up higher. I'll definitely be looking at around 916, 917 tomorrow. What is that? 907? Okay, so 907, I guess that makes sense. 907. All right. So I'll also be looking at around 907 tomorrow for the ES. I want to see what price does here as well. It was all the way back in September. Okay, so this is why we got that rejection right there. So we got that rejection right there. It came back. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens here. We'll really see what happens in this range tomorrow. We'll see what happens in that range. Yeah, we had that break of structure at 917 as well. You can see that they found support at 917. The bears or the bulls tried to buy it right back. They got their stops ran. They bought it right back up to 917, 921-ish. We got that rejection. They came back, rejected it at 906, 907. We had to move down. So that's definitely an area to watch out for on the ES tomorrow. I'll keep that on my radar. $982. You already got price running that already. Actually, let's look at the golden zone chart for the Nasdaq because I find that this is more accurate. Oh, wow. I'm not surprised by this. The 23% is that 935 I was looking at right here. Right here at the top of this range where price bounced at the end of the day. I'm not surprised that that was a 23% area. I'm not surprised by that. We had a bounce at a golden zone. I would pay attention what they do here at 990, 995. I will pay attention to that. If we get a retest of 995 and they break and they come back, I will look to short this area right here. And I would target 935, 920-ish. I would target this area. That's if we see a break. They hold it underneath this level. They come back. You see, obviously, that confirmation candle to go short using prior support as resistance. And I would target that area right there. Shoot, this is the guy right here with the plan, Alfred. He said that NQ never touched the session low, and he wrote the long from there. Yeah, congratulations. Yeah. If you're saying that you caught that long from the bottom, dude, congratulations, man. From yesterday's session, congratulations on that. But all right, guys, I'm ended here. Just remember tomorrow is PPI. I would sit on my hands for tonight. I wouldn't trade a funded account, eval. I mean, if you want, is your account, but it's 2025. Let's not blow our accounts trying to gamble the news. Let's wait for the reaction to other news and trade that. Usually, once the market settles down, the structure is established, and we know the direction that the market wants to trade in. Let's just wait for the reaction. It's a lot more profitable to do it that way versus gambling that volatile move. And with that said, have a good night. We'll come back tomorrow and we'll earn some more money. And with that said, peace out, everybody.